What's going on, guys? It's Brad again with you here tonight with Techbuds-Solutions and trading OTCs. So we just did some chatting here before I went live and just having some laughs. But anyway, welcome if this is your first time to my channel. I do appreciate you showing up. I am almost to 5,000 subscribers, and I couldn't thank you enough for all of your support. It's really been something to see, especially here within the last few months. My channel grow, as well as our chat group grow within Discord. And if you're not familiar with that, check out the links below. Went ahead and already put those in there for you. Also, check us out on Facebook. We are Techbuds-Solutions on Facebook as well. We have nearly 90,000 members there. And yeah, so there's still people laughing. So anyway, the topic of tonight was or is, should I hold stocks overnight? And the title is, I guess, a little clickbaity, but it's the truth. You're not gonna like what I have to say because the actual answer is it depends. It depends because it all depends on where you're at in your trading career. If you're just starting out and you have yet to have made your first trade, or you're only a month or two in the trading, if it were me trading, and again, this is all my opinion going forward with this, these are all, uh, you know, I base these opinions based off of my own experience, right? Make my own mistakes, and try to get you guys to maybe learn from them so that you don't make those same mistakes. And so, my suggestion would be uh, not to hold a stock overnight if you are just starting out. If you saw green that day that you made that trade, um, you know, then I wouldn't suggest holding on to it unless you are comfortable enough to swing it. So if you get in on like a bottom play, like a lot of us do when we're trading over the counter stocks, right? And you want to hold on to that till the next day in anticipation of a catalyst, and you're comfortable with the fluctuations of the market leading up to that catalyst, fine. But the second that you, not, I don't want to say the second, but as long as you're seeing green and a run up, and we'll use this as a perfect example. So if you were just starting out trading and you traded LIBE, one that a lot of us were getting into, and you got into it, let's just say Monday, Tuesday, or even Wednesday morning, and you saw that run up, right? So a lot of us got in at when it was extremely red on Wednesday, or added to our positions, as I explained to you guys yesterday, and saw awesome run up towards the end of the day yesterday. If you're just starting to trade out, or just starting out trading, it's probably in your best interest to just go ahead and take that green. And so this has kind of been a theme here that I've had lately, to take the profits when they're given to you, especially when you're first starting out. I've been noticing that I've had a lot of people, you know, or a lot of new folks that aren't familiar with how OTCs are traded, aren't familiar with like the volatility that's truly experienced down here. And, I hate to see people like doing this, crazy emotional roller coaster because they don't really understand the nature of the beast just yet. So if you're getting in here and you're seeing potential in a stock, and you buy into something at the bottom, or you buy it in on a serious dip, and then it runs up on that reversal, and you see a bunch of green, and you're really excited because you're like, man, this could keep going. Do yourself a favor and just take it. Just take the green and keep there's something to be said with those smaller wins, and later on down the road they add up to bigger ones. Now, if you are a much more experienced trader, or if you have a large account, then holding on and riding onto those dips doesn't hurt you as much. When you see your position, because the other thing is that when we're trading over the counter stocks, most of us are very diversified if we have a large account. So that means that we have several different, we have several different positions. And so we can handle those fluctuations because we're going to see green in other areas that we bought it, other stocks that we bought into, and we're not really caring a whole lot about, that one red stock. For a lot of you, maybe LIBE was one of the three stocks that you were playing, and maybe those other two stocks that you're in were green, or kind of green, and it still didn't outweigh the dip that you saw on LIBE today. And so I understand that that can be frustrating. So my um, strategy I would suggest if you're just starting out would be to sell when you see that profit. When you see that profit, take the guarantee and then build from there. Because like we always say, I know it's hard to grasp, but there's always going to be that next stock that's going to run. So, just some simple, kind of commonsensical advice. I know that it sounds, like it's obvious, but to some people it's not, and some people they really like to hold on to that position until it dips, and then they run it all the way down, and then they get scared, and then the fear makes you do really dumb stuff, and so then you just end up selling, and then the next day it ends up running back up. That's just like the common thing that happens is that people will get extremely excited one day when it's running and they've made all this money, and then it drops down, and then they're even in the red. They're suffering a loss on their actual initial buy-in, and so then they just sell out and they sell for a loss. So that fear is real. That fear can get everyone. It's got me. It's got anybody who's been in this industry, and so um, I just for me, that's just the way that I would go. And if you're a more experienced trader and you think that you can handle that risk based off of your own due diligence, and if you see this as a longer play or something like that, then fine. Then that's a more sensible approach if you have a larger account and if you have many positions at one time. Because that's the other thing, right? When you start building your account out, it's always a good idea to invest in more than one position at one time. We always have that age old saying that's don't put all your eggs in one basket. Same thing. Don't you want to spread out your account into multiple uh, stocks so that when you do see a red day on a particular stock, there's a good chance all your other ones are looking pretty good. So that is the long and short of it when it comes to my personal experience when it comes to holding overnight. I know that if you're used to Ricky's style of trading, it's never hold overnight, or it's never, and he's loosened up a little bit when it comes to trading ETFs and stuff. But very in the beginning, it was very much so, and that makes sense because he was just, I wouldn't say just starting out, but starting out a little bit. Uh, in a younger stage of his trading career, and it was always never sell or never hold overnight, never hold over the weekend. And so that's kind of the same mentality that I would probably say if you were just starting out and if you had a very small account with only maybe like one or two or three positions, to maybe get into something, and then once it runs, get out. You know, um, and so yeah, that's kind of my take on it. So anyway, I know that a lot of you guys have questions about LIBE. A lot of us were in that, and so I wanted to show you um, some of the info that I have based off of, or not info. I pulled it up on Thinkorswim. I wanted to share my screen and kind of show you my take on it when it comes to um, identifying stocks that are oversold. Chris, man, thanks. I appreciate the donation, buddy. Chris Knapp, I think it's Knapp or Knapp. I'll just call it Knapp because it's way more fun. Donated to my channel. I really do appreciate that, guys. If you are feeling so inclined to do so, click on that $sign on the bottom of your chat, and I would surely appreciate it. But let me go ahead and share my screen with you real quick. I'm going to pull up Thinkorswim since I know a lot of you guys use that. So bear with me just a sec. Okay. So here is the last 5 days on LIBE, and I like to use the indicator, the Bollinger Band indicator. For me, it's simple. You don't have to have a whole bunch of lines. Your chart doesn't look like it's a bunch of spaghetti being thrown around. And again, I just want to stress that I don't completely rely on technical analysis. One thing that I've always told you guys from the start is that I trade based more on a fundamental standpoint, more so than technical analysis. But it's always useful to have at least a little bit of technical analysis and how to read a chart, especially a pattern as pretty beautiful as this is. And I'll tell you why. Because what we have here is a um, pretty nice looking stair stepper pattern. You have a step here and it goes up and then it kind of levels off here. We had a little bit dip here, and this is what we call overselling here. So if you're looking at the bottom Bollinger Band and the price drops below that lower band, that could be an indicator that the stock is oversold, and we can see that here. So if you see how it's dropping below, and again, let me go ahead and let you know too that I have this on 15-minute time frame, and so when it's dropping below that Bollinger Band, it could mean that it's oversold. And so that means it could potentially be a decent dip buy or something like that. And so you can see here, it really dropped below that lower band. And what did we see yesterday? We saw it really just take off and ran straight up. And in contrast to that, if you're looking at the upper band and the price goes up above the upper band, that could signal possibly overbuying. And we did see that here a little bit. So when it starts to be overbought here, it'll drop below that upper band and then continue the rise. And so why I think that LIBE is oversold at the close of today's market was because that started to drop again below that lower band. And based off of how this pattern is moving, I see potential for it to continue that stair stepper, especially based off of the catalysts that I discussed with you last night on this particular ticker when it came to taking care of their debt, as well as other catalysts that were coming along with LIBE. I think there's a lot more left to this, in my opinion. Again, it's not something that I'm telling you that you need to buy. It's not something that telling you that you have to sell or whatever. It's just how I'm just showing you, how I do things and how I find success. And, I just kind of want to share that with you so that maybe it might work for you too. So let me go ahead and bring you on back. All righty. So with that, guys, I'll just leave it open to questions. If anybody, somebody said I bought a lot. That's okay. Hey, it happens. It happens to the best of us. Um, Tanner donated $1.99. Appreciate it. Ray, any little bit counts. He said, I'm not sure what I just did. That's funny, but I appreciate it. Hey, Brad told me to buy. What is the dollar sign for? Somebody asked where the dollar sign is if you want to donate. You click on that dollar sign and then you can donate to my channel. It's called Super Chat. People can donate to your channel if you feel that I've done a service to you or whatever through this channel, or have inspired you, changed you, whatever. Let's see here. So let me go ahead and just kind of back up to view some of the questions to see if there's any questions available for me to answer. Any idea about ADAC? That's another one that I'm just kind of holding out for personally, but that's because I have the risk tolerance to do so. I think that there was some really weird overselling going on that. A lot of people the spread on that today was quite big. And I don't understand, like, especially if you had gotten into that a little bit later, why you would sell, it was hovering around 7.5 cents. And then the bid price was down at like 6 cents. So it was like a whole penny and a half down on the bid. And people were just whacking the crap out of the bid price. So I didn't understand that at all. It did show signs of coming back to that support around 7.5 cents. But yeah, I think there's more catalysts to come with that, and we'll see. I don't really have a definitive answer on ADAC. I think it's great that they were uplisted to OTCBQ, and or QB, and I think that there's more in store. I mean, you can't. I think it's undervalued just based off of the fact that they have so many military contracts that are lined up, and for me, I'm willing to risk staying in that for a little while longer. All right. What do I think of APFW? APFW, ticker symbol APFW, had seen some recent news, but the thing with APFW, if you look in the history of that, a lot of the news or the catalyst that comes out on that is just fluff. It's not really anything tangible, and every time they come out with something, it comes right back down. I actually asked around about that too to see if there was any real meat to that, and it didn't look like it was, and it was pretty apparent that it came down as soon as it went up. I mean, I don't want to call it a pump and dump because it really didn't like soar like a pump and dump does. Pump and dump will go up maybe 100, 200 or more percentage points, and then come crashing right back down, oftentimes in the same day. Not necessarily, but oftentimes it does. And so I think APFW, where it might not be a pump and dump, it's probably something close to that because every time they put news out, it's just not it's not legit. It's not solid news. So let's see here. Joseph Bennett, appreciate it, man. Thanks for donating to my channel. Um, all right. Well, it looks like all the questions have been answered tonight, guys. I do appreciate you watching. If I'm so close to 5,000 subscribers, and I know that it doesn't seem like it's a lot, especially if you compare it to like Ricky's or whatever. But for me, this wasn't something that I, you know, ever saw myself doing. And I really do owe a lot of that to Ricky himself because he was the one that kind of talked me into doing this based off, just of my success and that he saw earlier on in the TechBuds saga, if you will. So I really thank you. I can't thank you enough for your support. One real quick thing is that I'm still looking for the millionaires for my millionaire interviews. If you or somebody who is a millionaire and it's that their net worth is $1 million or more, please send them my way. I would really like to interview them and provide motivating stories for all of you all to watch and see. That's all I got for you guys tonight. If you could please smash that like button and subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed tonight's live stream, and I will see you all before the bell. What? Oh my gosh. You guys are always screwing up my sign offs. All right, guys, take it easy. See you all before the bell, and B Smith is out.